welcome to the Crafty Capricorn. Today I'm going to be talking about my 2024 Hobonichi lineup and how I'm going to be using each one. And actually, I've got some old Hobonichis off to the side, and I thought I would use these to show you how I'm going to be using my new ones. Also, I just wanted to mention that I've been using the Hobonichi brand for, well, off and on for maybe like 4 or 5 years, and I've definitely learned a lot. I've failed a lot. A lot of things have not worked, and I've definitely not like completely nailed down and solved every problem that I've run into, but this year I really feel a lot more confident in myself and the purpose that I want to set for each of these. So I am definitely looking forward to seeing how my confidence is going to shape how my journals turn out and how well I end up doing in filling them out like I want to. So I'm going to start with the A6 Avec. Actually, if you're familiar at all with the Hobonichi, they have in both the A5 and the A6 size, they have the Avec, which means it's half of the year. And this is so just adorably cute and small. I love this so much. So let me grab my old A6. This is one of the first ones that I ever picked up from Hobonichi. And what's interesting to me is looking back on this, it's so much different even than I journal now. Not only what I chose to put in it, but what I chose to write about is definitely not my style anymore. So I think that really speaks to the importance of objectively looking back at your old journals and using that to learn from your old mistakes and growing as a person. And so it's really cool to have this record. But previously I'd use this one just as kind of like a catch-all, like what's happening in my life, but with a creative spin, kind of, I guess. Some spiritual stuff. Oh wow, this was when I first adopted my cat. Yeah, I mean, it's really cute and fun to look back on, but I would say the biggest thing that I learned in this one is not being so perfectionistic, because I definitely glued over things that I didn't like, and it feels a little bit stiff looking back on this. I didn't complete every page because I just didn't feel like the pages that didn't like turn out that good. I just had a lot of like toxic comparison going on. I had some perfectionist stuff happening, and so I didn't complete this one. And actually, none of the ones that I showed you I've completed for similar reasons. But as I was thinking about what I wanted to do for 2024, I pulled this one out just because it had some empty space, and I crossed out like the date, and I have decided that my A6 is going to be a journal for my daughter. I have an almost 2-year-old, and I have been really thinking about this idea of journaling to her for a long time, but I just wasn't really sure how to go about doing it. And for some reason, I really just got in my own head about it. And it just sort of came to me recently that I could be using my Hobonichi as her journal. And so for a couple of days here, I kind of like summarized the day. It was a tough day. She had a lot of like meltdowns, and I was really frustrated and having a hard time. So I kind of briefly wrote some honest thoughts about that. But then to kind of help me check in and be mindful about my parenting, and being that, again, I want this to be a journal for her, I thought, okay, well, how can I make this something that she will enjoy looking back on too? And it's not to say that I'm going to skim over the, not so fun parts of life for her. I'm definitely going to be fully honest and transparent, but I thought that just for myself, taking those moments to like write about some cute things that she's doing could help me also be regulated. So this tool is kind of like a twofold thing where it's both being honest and like maybe writing advice to her, writing, her milestones, the things that I love about her. It's both, right? So it's a journal for me to check in, and it's a journal for her to enjoy later. And then here I didn't exactly know what to write, so I kind of transcribed a reel that I had watched that really spoke to how I was feeling just in my motherhood that day. And I thought like later, especially as I actually jump into the one that's really for her, like for real, that I could add like washi tape, or maybe I could do some like watercolor in the background. Like, being that I chose the A6 Avec for this exact reason, that I wanted to be able to add the stuff in it without so much fear of it becoming like really fat. Because if you look at this one, I mean, I kind of went crazy and tipped in some like journal cards and glued some cardstock down. Like I was just experimenting on the Tomoe River paper. And so my thought is like, I'm not afraid to do stuff like this where I can like maybe pull out some of my printable kits and stuff like that and use that in here. Like I'm not afraid of doing that. But I'm definitely not going to be adding cardstock again ever. I think that was definitely a mistake, but I'm glad that I experimented and figured it out somewhere along the way. So not only am I going to be doing just like the general memory keeping, but photo journaling as well in here, because I have my awesome Canon selfie that I can like customize photo sizes. So whether I wanted to just maybe stick a picture in on like the full layout and just call it a day, or if I wanted to shrink it down and kind of write about it, I can play with that. And then the other thing that I was going to do in my A6 is use the calendar pages as a gratitude log specifically dedicated to her. So whether it's like, I love the way that you touch my face when you're falling asleep, or I love or I'm grateful for how you run and give me a hug when you're happy and excited. Like things that are specifically dedicated to what I'm grateful for about my daughter is going to go in the calendar pages. Or maybe like if we have like a visit from a family member, recording that. And then the other thing that I was going to do just for myself, because I've been looking for a place to do this, is recording using like the margin, or I guess the margin, because I've done that briefly in this one. I penciled it in and figured out that it would fit, but I thought that I could record her nap hours, the amount of times that she wakes up in the night, and then the hours that she slept, and kind of see how those things correlate to one another, because I've been just trying to think of how I could do that, and it might be interesting data to have to see how that's affecting like her mood and her sleep. So that's the plan for the A6. It's just only for her. So the next one I'll share is my week's plan. So I really wish I could remember her name off the top of my head, but I saw another creator's spiritual journal set up that she did in a week's, and I was just so obsessed with it that I dug out an old traveler's notebook insert that has a very similar layout to the Hobonichi weeks. And so this is what I was planning to do in this one. I have these cool tarot stamps, and so I thought pulling my tarot cards, right, maybe like the beginning of the week, stamping out all of my tarot cards, maybe writing like, because that's what I did this week, writing a snippet about the tarot card, what it means, because I'm still trying to learn it years later, and it's maybe this will actually help me learn it faster, so I won't have to do this later. But then on this side, I'm writing like how the message may have felt relevant for the day. Like for the reversed Three of Swords, which is like negative self-talk, releasing pain, optimism. I wrote that I had cleared the air in my friendship and that I forgave myself for a frustrated outburst. And so kind of watching how the energy feels relevant after pulling a card, or even about like the astrological transits too. I thought like, if something comes up after having researched what, Mercury trine Jupiter means, like after having looked that up, which I'm going to keep in the notes section in the back, because I got a week's mega and it's got like literally a whole extra notebook basically in the back. I thought I could write out like my astrological transits in here so that during the week I can write like, oh, I noticed some themes coming up that was relevant to the astrology, if that makes any sense. So the goal is I'm looking for patterns in my spirituality, because it's something that I do naturally anyway, and I thought it'd be really cool to actually record that in here. And then of course, if I've got any other like spiritual tasks, I've got my full moon grimoire, as a goal for completing tomorrow. And then I've noted, the full harvest moon here, etc. So, if I've got like a ritual that I want to do coming up, what have you, I figured I could use this like a spiritual planner. And then on this side, I've got some other ideas going. So I am planning to split it, because that just seems like it's going to work with my brain way better than trying to fill this whole space just like top to bottom text. So rather than trying to fill it with top to bottom text, dividing it in half seems like it's going to make more sense for my brain. And I've penciled in some ideas here that I could do, right? So this side, I also had a task, an idea to write my tasks here, maybe instead of here, depending on how frequently I end up filling or utilizing this space. If I don't have room, I thought maybe here would work too. I also have this little penciled in like photo block, because I had created a new altar this week, and I thought like if I end up doing any kind of photo journaling in here too, specifically related to my spirituality, that maybe I'll include a photo of that new altar that I set up, because I know that I've really grown as a spiritual person, as a practicing witch, and yet I find it like interesting that I don't exactly remember how I've gotten here. And so, keeping an actual like real-time log of what's happening in my spirituality felt like something that would be important to do. And this spread is particularly bland in my journal style, I guess. So, of course, I've added down here, like if I don't fill space, to then go back in and maybe add my cool like witchy stickers and stuff like that, because this isn't as exciting as normal, but I'm really seeking to find a balance between my fun decorative style and practical, usable, attainable in my journaling. I think that's something that's new for me, but I also want to keep it fun and like me too. So empty space will probably still get filled. And then the other side here, like I was saying, I want to keep this to be more like practical But so I've got here like commonplacing. At the same time, it's not necessarily keeping the notes in the weekly part, if that makes any sense. So like I was saying with, say, the astrology, where I've got like the transits here over here, and I want to keep the notes for the astrology in the back of the notes section, right? Instead of, writing what this astrology means right here, it's going to happen back here. I also want to keep the second half of the page dedicated to specific tasks, like related to, for example, like my harvest cycle. Let's say that my harvest cycle starts on a Tuesday, like the next phase starts on this Tuesday. I want to keep a full log of my notes on what each of my harvest cycles are back here, so that then I can actually start doing the things that is suggested in that book. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, go watch my Grimoire Traveler's Notebook setup, where I kind of show you my harvest cycle book. It's something that's just really important to me to try and integrate in my spirituality, not just by learning what they are, but by actually implementing the suggested activities. And so I want to actually like record not only the suggested activities, but doing them and making myself a task of what I should be doing in the upcoming days and weeks related to that. And then, let's say that I'm kind of in the middle of a harvest cycle. I don't really have many activities coming up that I want to do. I thought I could record, my meditation, or even worst case scenario quotes, or, transcribing maybe some like poetry, because I'm planning to study some of my favorite poetry in the upcoming year. And so I thought like even writing down like a quote by Edgar Allan Poe, say if I'm working with my Edgar Allan Poe tarot, that sort of thing, where this side is going to be more like kind of commonplacing, but the main components of what a commonplace journal really is going to be happening back here. I don't know if that makes any sense at all, but hopefully it does. And as I work in this, I promise that I will update you on how it's going, and so that you can have like an actual real picture of what it looks like. But other than my harvest cycle and my astrology in the back here, I also want to write about like all of the Sabbats, so that again in this part of the weeks I'm not writing about like, oh shit, what were the traditions, the main traditions of Samhain again, and how can I celebrate in a way that was similar to my ancestors? I forgot. All that's going to be recorded back here. I'm also going to be writing down any more like in-depth tarot readings I want to do back here, like particularly tarot readings that feel like a ritual. So that's kind of what I do sometimes if I don't have time or energy to like celebrate any of the Sabbats. I might just do a really nice little tarot reading for myself. So again, like maybe including the pictures if I feel so inclined, or just writing a more detailed look at a tarot reading. And then, I think that's about it as far as the notes. Truly, I think that just those things, my tarot harvest cycle, the Decan information, my whatever, like I think that that's gonna fill a pretty good chunk if I'm able to stick with it and stay on top of it as much as I want to be. So this whole system is going to be specifically dedicated to my spirituality. And then the last one that I have is the Hon. This is very similar to the Hobonichi cousin. Hey, kitty cat. So this is going to be like my just everyday journal, planner, brainstorm, and potentially a little bit of creativity too. So this 2022 was a pretty good year for me. Journal-wise, I definitely learned even more about my creative journal style, but I think I was setting myself up for failure in a lot of ways too, because I expected every single page to look cute like this. I was kind of running out of stuff to put in my journal, which I was feeling frustrated by. Like, in order to have a cute journal, I just have to be stuck in this perpetual loop of like buying so many stickers. Like, I was blowing through my Lace and Whimsy stickers at this rate, or at this point, because I was just looking for something interesting to include. And since I'm a stay-at-home mom, I don't really go a ton of places. I do have photos. I didn't have like ephemera to put in here like a lot of people have. And so with all of that, I started getting frustrated just because I didn't have enough stuff to keep adding to make my journal look really cute. And even though this really does like inspire me, it brings me so much joy to look back on how pretty this looks. As you can see, the majority of this book is blank because I just felt like I was never going to be able to keep up with it. And this is just the dailies. Wait till you see the weeklies. Like, I couldn't figure out how to use my weeklies at all. I was really inspired by Coffee Monsters Co. right here, but I couldn't afford to buy all of her really cute stickers, so I tried to like kind of doodle to get a similar effect, and I just felt like I'm never going to be able to keep up with this. So I didn't touch a Hobonichi in 2023 at all. I just thought like, oh, maybe this system really isn't meant for me. But I've been feeling the pull to journal again. I miss it. So I've been researching a lot on like YouTube, and I came across like Rachelle in Theory. I love her content so much. And I really started taking a more like analytical approach to thinking about my journaling, and I kind of realized that I was just stuck too much in my the decorative side of my planner matrix, as she puts it. So I started thinking about what I could do differently, trying to really play with the idea of making the most out of this, aside from the spiritual ways that I've used a monthly calendar in this way. I also like Rachelle in Theory's like bi-weekly system that she recommends to help you get more shit done. So I'm playing with her suggestions, and I really can't wait to see how this all translates going forward. I feel a little bit more confident in myself and my ability to make the most out of my journals and my time. So, and then of course the beginning, like year at a glance pages that you get, I just figured I would do the Lindsey Scribbles Calendex, where I write, you know, what's going on in the dailies in the weeklies, just so I can find things more easily. But I'm really like so pleased with this notebook. Oh yeah, that is my rambly nonsense about how I'm going to be using these, and I will definitely update you. Maybe I'll do some like journal with me's or something like that, just so that you can get a better, like more visual idea of how these journals are going to start coming together. But thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye!